What's up, everybody? I'm here with John. John is a producer from La Mirada, one of the premier cities in LA, LA County, and I'm from Cerritos, equally as premier. So we have some questions today from John that he's gonna ask me. He's a dope jazz fusion producer. I'm a hip hop artist here in LA, and we're ready.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Aman, and I'm absolutely excited to ask you these questions and hear your answers. So let's just get right into it, okay? So the first question: everybody starts somewhere when it comes to their journey in music. So my question is: at what age would you say you started to enjoy music to a point that you knew that you loved it? Following that, when did you decide to transcend that love for listening to music into the journey of being a music creator? And was that an easy transition?
That's a really good question. There's like a few parts to it. Listening to music versus creating it, and then that transition, was that hard? So I guess on the first part, loving to listen to music, it was probably more teenager years. I was actually just coming home one day listening to California Love. I just have that visual in my head. I was walking home, and then right as I was pulling up, I heard California Love on the radio, and I was like, wow, I really love the sounds in this, man. The samples are crazy, the rapping is cool, and then I checked out all 90s rap. Like that, then like started listening to more new rap. It took maybe 2 3 years for me to be like, maybe I could create this. I saw people on YouTube who did covers of songs and then started making their own. I was like, wait, so you can just get a mic and just do this? It was just a moment. I was like, all right, let me try this. And I remember picking up a snowball mic. It was a Yeti snowball, or I think it was the company Blue, but they had the cheapest available mic was a just a little snowball, circular mic, and I used that. It wasn't the best quality, but it was good because my songs were not the best quality either. It was, speaking of that transition, it took a while. I was not good. Like some of the first songs, some things are bad. It's like funny. Some things are so bad. It's just like, wow, turn that off. Like that was some of my old music, the first few songs. But then after a year or so, I started to get really better because I wasn't just trying to make music, like trying to sound somewhere or not. I just was getting better at the skill, and then not trying too hard. That was it, I think, more so. And then life happening, that gives you more experiences to write about. So yeah.
Wow, man, that's a very insightful answer. Thank you for that. And it's really interesting to hear the start or the advent of your musical journey, man, and how you got from listening to '90s hip hop and eventually making hip hop yourself. That's always fun, right? Yeah, man. I would know as a music creator myself, listening to jazz fusion, then all of a sudden, boom, I'm making it. So that leads me to my next question, which is this one, okay? Second question is: we know that your success in rap has been documented through your Instagram page, and I personally have an idea of how far you've come in music. So my question is this: if you ask your audience where you are in music right now, your audience specifically, what would they say? Would they say you've come a long way, you still have some work to do, you're amazing, things like that? Or is it all of it, or is it something else? What would your audience say about where you are as a musician right now?
That's a really good question. I'll split it up. So, the way the audience is, maybe my closest listeners and friends, they would tell me a little bit more in messages with my last album and this one once they're listening. So, there's a few things that they've said which were pretty cool that kind of showed I've improved a lot. That's kind of what they were saying. Like, Owen, when he listened to the album, he was like, man, I could tell like you're much sharper on the songs. He really likes Coast to Coast. He likes just how much I've improved. Mesfin was sitting with him and listening at the same time, and he said, man, it just feels like the way you're describing things, it felt like I was actually sitting there with you while you're on the rooftop when you're speaking in India about that song. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm getting better at these things. So with my closer friends, I think better. On Instagram, I think I'm getting to a place where people are seeing, maybe I'm putting more of my content out there, trying new type of styles of content, music videos, interviews, or behind the beat, behind the bars. So I'm going to be trying these things to showcase myself more. So I think that's going to showcase more of the music, because in the past I haven't put out too much every year, but now I'm getting more consistent. So I think they're going to see that if they looked back, they see quite improved on my flow, timing, delivery, but that's more yet to come with the audience. I think, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree, man. I think they're really happy with how far you've come, especially us, close friends of you. We've seen you grow through the years, both as a person and as a musician, and it's been awesome to watch. And for those of the audience on Instagram, they'll see that too. I'm sure they've seen it already, which is why your Instagram has like what over 1,000 followers now. Yeah, man, people love you and your music, bro. So let's keep it going. So this is the third question, right? Your next album is Metamorphosis. It's been an honor to work with you on this album, both as a producer and a mastering engineer. So I wanted to ask you, how is this album going to be special in the eyes, again, of your audience? And what does it mean for you to make something of this caliber?
That's a great question. I think it's gonna really mean what the theme of the album is. Metamorphosis means like a killing of the old self to be new, a change, acceptance of that. People really are gonna feel that when they listen to the music and hear it. And I think this is more of a short answer, but it's so simple because that's the goal of this album, like to show how you can change your perspective over time and not be the same person you always are. You're constantly going to be changing, like accepting that.
That's awesome, man. Straight and concise, bro. Right to the point. Here's my next question for you. Okay, I love these answers, man. They're fantastic, and they give you a visual of who you are too, man. So the fourth question is this: does making vocal music in a studio have any benefits over making music in a bedroom studio? And for the one that isn't superior, are there any benefits at all? For like the one that you don't choose as the best one, are there benefits there that the studio or the bedroom doesn't have?
That's a really, really good question. That's as a vocalist, that's something we think about all the time. It depends on the quality of equipment. If your home studio has the best equipment versus an outside studio, then probably your home studio is good. Generally, that would be more comfortable. You're in your setting. But let's be real. Most people, their home studio isn't at the budget. Like they don't have the budget to afford the things that are in a major studio. So with that in mind, I would pick it in the studio recording. A couple of reasons. You have an engineer who's helping you mix it at the same time. You're getting great takes. They're helping you with the process. Two, you're getting the best equipment and sound as possible. Three, you don't have to worry about doing multiple things at once. I just have to focus on my recording, not clicking play, re-listening back. I have somebody to help me. And then lastly, it's a new place. It's a new environment. You focus. It's like people who, when you go to school versus online, people mention like, I hated online during COVID because I just maybe slacked. I like getting up, going to school, writing notes, taking things down physically. Ben Hamencito, shout out to you. You mentioned that to me. So I think that's the main thing that I would say. Yeah.
Nice. So the verdict goes to studio.
And oh yeah, one thing. So the verdict goes to studio because of all those reasons. It's just easier for you and a nice environment. You get higher quality recording out of it. But we were talking about the pros of the other option. So with the bedroom, it's because it's home. If it's home, it's just different. I think you can sometimes get more vulnerable on tracks, and your delivery can really show in that. And that's one song on the album, actually, Projections, where I really like some of the delivery from the at-home takes, and we weren't able to recreate it in the studio. So that's a really kind of weird case that happens, but it's true, I think.
I am going to ask my fifth question, but I want to ask you one follow-up question to this one right here. If you were to compare studio and bedroom prices, not to counter you or anything, but just bringing up a point, it's like going to a subscription when you use a studio. It's like you go there plenty of times. Yes, they have the best equipment, and for the moment it's cheaper. But if you were to invest in your own studio and make the best equipment there, would you still choose the studio with that engineer over there? Versus like, and this is not just for you, this is for anybody. Would they choose a subscription to a place that is high quality, but every single time you got to pay? Or is it worth the investment to make your bedroom studio into like a masterpiece?
That's a really good practical question everybody's thinking about. What I'm doing currently is still going to the studio because I really like those higher quality recordings and the mic while I'm slowly upgrading my home studio. But it's a really tough one because the the prices on a studio outside can be like $40 an hour. Maybe you get. I think it takes at least 2 songs to record 2 hours to record a song in a studio. Like if you're doing rap, maybe singing 3 hours because you need to get all the vocals in. It depends on what you need, but that's a lot of money. So you could be spending hundreds each time you're in the studio. And the thing is, you can get very good quality from a home studio, but you need, let's say, some solid speakers, around $200. You need a mic that's $200, around there. A laptop, right? Maybe you don't have a laptop, that would cost a significant portion, maybe up to $1,000. And good headphones, maybe $100, something around there. With that, you can get pretty good sounding quality. And if that's what you need because you're just starting out, go with that, especially when you're just starting out. But as you're getting better, you're going to probably go once in a while to the studio, and then you're going to be like, oh, I like this quality. And there you can try investing more. But keep upgrading your home studio.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Those are great insights into that question. Thank you for that. And the last question, this is the fun one, all right? So they've all been fun, but this one's extra fun. Woohoo! If given the choice, would you prefer getting $1 million every year? Or would you prefer having the ability to make music that changes the entire world?
Yeah, that's music that that changes the entire world. Damn, that's actually a really good question because it's like have you heard of that Jay-Z question? Conversation with Jay-Z, or he gives you $500,000. It was kind of a thing on social media. People were asking, and some people were taking the conversation with Jay-Z over getting 500,000. And Jay-Z himself said you should take the 500,000. So that kind of makes me think practically. It's like, yeah, $1 million a year. You can invest and make that life that you want. Versus. But at the same time, making music that impacts people, I wonder what would get me to that point, right? Is it maybe just making better songs? What's that key ingredient? Is it just over time? If it is a natural thing, maybe then that's the thing. Even though $1 million is great a year, that's my ultimate goal and purpose, I think, with the music in life. So that's what I'd want. Even though it's $1 million is a lot, but still.
Let me ask you this then. I'm going to ask you this. Try to understand this because this is a kind of a curveball. Back to the question about the $1 million. Would you rather get $1 million each year in royalties, like what you earn, or would you rather have $1 million budget to make what you need to make? No matter what you come out with, if it changes the world, you get $1 million. Versus you can change the world potentially with $1 million budget, but the royalties are no cap. But that budget is $1 million, and you have to change the world. The premise is you change the world for good or for bad, whatever it is that you want. You either receive $1 million or you get $1 million as a budget with an unlimited cap.
Unlimited cap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first option, when it comes to you receive $1 million, it's not like you're getting $1 million budget. You're getting like a regular standard budget.
And then the other one, you have $1 million to use. That's the one, because I've met super cool people. I feel like we have a team building. I can think of all the roles people would have in that to use that budget effectively. So I'm thinking even of you coming up with ideas how we could use the budget. I'm thinking of Nihar with his organizational skills, Shiv. I'm thinking of Tiger with his creativity and how he thinks outside the box. So that's why it would be dope to work with different people and be like, how do we best use this? Do we create events? Do we create a structure for long term? Like, how do we use this money? That would be super fun, and we'd learn a lot.
What a selfless man. I like this guy. That was a great answer. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I love it. And that concludes my questions for this interview, and I suppose that concludes the interview of Amandeep Singh.
And that's the end. We could cut.